Today we're going to look at the Tivdio HR-11W. This is a multi-powered emergency radio with a lot of really cool features on here, and I think you guys are going to like it, and we're going to tear this thing down and look at it. Every so often a product comes along and you just think, this is a good idea just to have one of these, just in case. And I think this is such a product, especially if you live in an area of the world like I do where an earthquake is just around the corner. We haven't had one, touch wood. I'll touch some wood here. But, we could have one any day. Anybody who lives along any fault lines around the world is always at the back of their mind that there could be a shaker someday. And when that happens, you may be cut off from the world. You may not have any electricity. You may not have any phone service. And you'll be relying on radio communications. So having an emergency portable radio is probably not a bad idea. And I got sent this little one here to check out. I think we'll share it with you. So we're going to take a look at this unit, what it does, try it out, and then maybe we'll tear it down. So when we open up the box, you'll see that I have a radio in here. And this unit has multiple power sources. It actually can do quite a bit. So I haven't let in everything it can do just yet, but we'll go through that together. So let me get everything out of the box here. Get the box out of the way. Comes with a lithium rechargeable battery, which will load into the bottom. Now this radio has multiple power sources. So once you put the battery in here, first you can plug it into USB. Comes with a USB charge cable. So you can plug this into your standard USB phone charger to charge it up. That's the main way you would charge a radio like this. You would just plug it in and let it charge, just like that. As you can see, it has a nice LCD screen on here. And this will charge the battery. Now that's one way of charging the battery, but what if the power is out? Well, there are two other ways to charge up the battery on this. One is that it has a solar panel on the top. So if you put it out in the bright sun, the solar panel is going to charge the battery. I'm just going to remove the protective film. The solar panel is going to charge the battery. But say it's overcast, or there's no sun, or it's at night, or you're trapped inside. Well, it has a hand crank. So you can just crank it. And and all you need to do is turn it fast enough so that the green light comes on the front, as you can see here. So if you crank it, you're now putting a charge into the battery. And the faster you crank it, the more power you're going to put into the battery. But you crank it for a few minutes, and that'll give you enough power to operate the radio. Now, in addition to the hand crank, which will charge up the internal battery, and the solar panel, say your cell phone is dead. Well, that same charge cable you can plug into the side of the unit, and you can use that to charge up your cell phone. To charge your phone, when you plug your phone in here, you have to switch this little switch that says external charging. You have to switch that to on. And then if I plug in the USB here, when I crank this, well, it's actually charging up already. You can see my phone has gone into charge. So now I'm charging up my phone, but if I crank this, I can generate even more power. So if my cell phone is dead, and I don't have a battery bank with me, I can use this and charge my cell phone up. So even if you don't have any power, if you've got an external battery charger with you and you don't have any power in it, well, this way you can just generate your own. Just crank, and you will charge. Let's get a closer look at the operation of the unit. And you can put an SD card in, so I'm going to do that now. I have an SD card here, and on this SD card you can store music, so you can have your own music on here. It also stores as a storage medium because this unit has a built-in voice recorder, and it can also record radio programs. And it has a flashlight, an SOS light, and a siren. Okay, to turn the unit on, press the power button. And that'll turn the radio on, like that. And it'll start up in radio mode. So you've got your weather band button here, I think.
1. The extended forecast
there's the weather
for
band.
City of Vancouver and Burnaby for Wednesday, cloudy with 60%.
Alert mode.
High 6
Now.
for Wednesday. Low.
So in alert mode, I take it, I haven't read the instructions, but the weather channels will send out an alert signal if there's severe weather. So this way it'll keep the radio muted if there's no alert.
Friday, rain.
And we should be able to change the channel here.
For Friday night, cloudy with 60%.
That's volume.
Chance of rain showers or flurries.
And volume up.
Low +1. For Saturday, cloudy with 60%. Chance.
There's multiple weather channels.
High 6.
So the weather channel that we get here is 162.55, but you just change it with the forward and reverse buttons, you see, and it'll then change to the next frequency. So generally, one of the frequencies will be in use for a given area. For my area here, it's this one. Okay, if I press the 6 key, that'll put it into AM radio mode. It might help if I turn off this TV. There. Turn off a plasma TV if you want to get AM radio.
Much to the annoyance of some of his clients.
And I told him.
He was portrayed as kind of a naughty character, but judging from the...
I'm tired of being subservient to LeBron James. LeBron has the perfect guy that's similar to Kevin Love, who doesn't want to be that alpha dog. So
7:30 Financial Season Spotlight, brought to you by...
My in-house transmitter. That works. FM. Go with the FM band. Same thing. You can tune it in. I'll take it down to my 87.5, I think is where I am on. Like that.
And they start...
There we go. Now you see, it shows stereo because it's a stereo radio, but obviously it just has a single speaker. If you plug in headphones, you'll get FM in stereo, and it's telling you that that's a stereo channel that it's on. There's two versions of this radio that are available. I take it the HR-11S would have shortwave, or the HR-11 has shortwave. And the HR-11W, which is what this is, has the weather band, because on the shortwave version, that would be where that button is to receive shortwave. So this one's just AM, FM, and weather band. But it also does have a music player built in, and that's accessed by pressing where is it here? Gotta find the button push. I guess it's this button here, mode. If I press the mode button, it goes to Bluetooth. You can pair it with your phone. We'll do that in a minute. And waiting. There we go. Now it's gonna play the music that is on the SD card. And if I press the skip button, it'll move to the next track. So that way you can load up some of your tunes on an SD card But you don't have to use your phone. You don't have to pair it to your phone if you want to just listen to music. And I take it if I press the, let's get some royalty-free music here, so it might not be very good stuff. Okay, this button over here should change the mode. What's it saying here? The button here, number 3, which is the repeat mode button. When you press it, here's the operations, okay? If it has an all, or A, it's repeat all, which will play them in sequence. You press it again, it'll say a D, which will repeat the folder, because you can have your music in multiple folders. One more time, it'll just be repeat the same song over and over. It has a 1, and then one more time, R. So in R, it will just play at random. It has a mute button as well. So if you want to shut off the sound without stopping it, you can just hit the mute key. And it has a lock button down here, which you can use to lock the unit. Press and hold, and I think that should, yeah, that locks the keys. Press and hold again, it turns off the picture of the key, you see? So that way you don't have to worry about buttons being pressed. So to pair to my cell phone, I'm going to press the mode button. And it should come up with a mode. Okay, okay, this should be Bluetooth here. And it now should be ready to pair. So if I search, I should be able to see this thing on my phone. I started a search, and here it is, HR-11. I click on HR-11. It says pairing, and it is now connected. So now if I go into my music on my phone, so now it's going to play from my phone, and that's not royalty-free music, so I'm not going to play that for any length of time. I'm going to grab another phone and I'm going to make a phone call and see how this thing answers and see how the phone features work on it. So I'm now going to dial my number from my Fongo test phone. Okay, so if I tap the button here. Hello?
Hello?
Oh.
Oh.
It works.
It works.
So I guess I was holding the button. You just click it once.
Click it once.
And it will answer the call.
And it will answer the.
Okay, to hang up, I just tap it again.
Hang up, I just.
And now I've just hang up the phone. So that's how you answer the phone. Now, when you're also in Bluetooth mode, if you press your pause button here, for example, this is actually controlling the music on my phone. So I can change tracks. I can change tracks on my phone by doing this, and I have to be quick here because this is not royalty-free music. So you could be streaming music from your phone and actually go quite loud. To switch back to the internal memory card, just press the mode button. Actually, I think you got it. Yeah, there we go. And now we're back to the internal memory. And I'm in single repeat mode, I believe here. Yeah, there we go. The music files that will play, it'll play MP3 obviously, and it will also play WMA. So Windows Media Audio, WAV files, and MP3. It'll also record, so if I turn this off, I go back to radio, I believe it's radio. What a coincidence. The same song is playing on my AM transmitter that was playing off the memory file here because it's the same music that's loaded onto that. What does it say we do here? If you're listening to a radio broadcast, you can record the programs if you've got a TF card in, tune the station you want, and you long press the M- button, which has got the little dot here beside it. So if you press and hold, it's now recording what is playing on the radio. So if you're listening to a talk show, for example, and there's something really interesting on, and you want to record it, you can record it right onto the memory card. And we'll check it on FM too, because I want to see what the quality is like. And this tells me how much time is remaining on the card here, right? So to stop it, just press and hold, and I think that stops it. And press the escape key, end recording. So I press escape there. Now it's saved. And the same as if I'm on FM. If I would do the same thing, press the key and hold it, and now it's going to record on FM. I take it it's 36 minutes. It's probably the limit of the file, the time that it can limit, the actual recording time. It says if you want to pause it while it's recording, you can press the pause key over here, and that will pause the recording. And you can see the display is flashing, and then continue, and it will continue recording. And then when you're done, you press the escape key, and that will do that. Now you can also record, I believe on this thing, you can record from the mic. It says in any mode except for, so in any mode except for the radio mode, if you press and hold the record key, so I press and hold it, now it's going to record what I'm saying using the built-in microphone. So we'll see how the sound quality of this is. Now to listen to your recorded files, select music in the main menu. So if I go to, there's music in the main menu, right? Well, these are, yeah, well, if I search through it, I mean, it'll show up, there's recording. Now it's going to record what I'm saying. Well, there's the recordings, but I wanted to get the list. How do we get the list up? Music. Okay, here's what you do. You're playing the file, you hit menu. Then you press the right arrow button here to get down to file browser and press menu. And now you can see your files that you've recorded. And here are the 3 files that I recorded. They're MP3s. So if I want to play one back, I select it and I press, and it'll play the file. That's how you select your recorded files that you've recorded on here. It was a bit confusing there. I actually had to look at the manual. Okay, what else has this thing got on here? So let's just stop this thing from playing. And it's got a calendar. So in the main menu, select calendar in the main menu. Here we go. Main menu, press the menu to display the date time, and then use the tuning knob to adjust the year and the month. So the tuning knob here, there we go. So I can set it to 2018, and then press the menu button, and today is the 2nd, and it's the 12th. Menu, okay, and that's the date. And where do I set the time on here? So I get out of that by pressing escape. But that might be the next menu over. Radio, music, Bluetooth, text browser, system settings. What's in system settings? System time. Ah, there we go. Menu. And it's, I guess I do the same thing here. I was in the calendar and I want to be actually in the time. So 2018, 02:12. And here's the time here, and it's probably in 24-hour time, which it is. So it is now 21:45. And about 15 seconds. I'm looking at my real time here. Okay, and right now we're right at the exact time. There we go, 30 seconds. So I've just synchronized this to the exact time to get out of this. Okay, backlight is the next one here. And okay, you can set how long the backlight stays on for. How many seconds it stays on for. Language, simple Chinese, traditional Chinese, and English. Well, we better make sure it's in English. Tools, what's tools? Sleep timer, okay, here we go. Touch tone, alarm, you can set an alarm time. Aha, you see, you have an alarm clock on here too, so you can do that. Exit. I'm getting the hang of these menus. Touch tone. So now it'll beep when you press buttons. And if you don't want that, turn it off. Exit. And what else is in here? Contrast, firmware version. Okay, so contrast, you can select how much contrast the display has in it. And as you can see, and it all depends on what angle you're going to be looking at the display. You can display your firmware version, factory reset, exit. That gets you out of the tools. Text browser, this is one here. If you've got text files on the memory card, you can display it. Where are we here? And I'm just going to go down to, I think it's this one here. If I press menu, this is a sample of a text file that can be displayed, and you can scroll through it. So what you could do is, if you store text files with the extension TXT on the memory card, you can put important information that you might want to remember, such as passwords or emergency contact information. That would be a good one. If you have some information that you don't want to forget, and something that you might need in an emergency, like maybe your contacts on here, doctor's phone number or whatever, right? You could store that on there so that you're not going to forget it in times of an emergency, because generally you tend to forget things, right? When you're under stress and there's an earthquake or a flood or something, that's when you need that information and you may not remember it. So if you don't have your phone with you, for example, you can input that information into a text file, and then you can just scroll through and read it. So that's that feature. And play set, don't know what that is. Oh, you know what? That's for playing back lyrics. It'll play, if there are lyric files for your music, it will play them back as well. That's what that does. And exit, escape. Okay, and that's pretty much it for this one. I think we will do a teardown video of this little unit here in another video, but for this quick demonstration of this portable little emergency crank radio that can charge your cell phone up and of course charge its own battery if you've got no power. You can crank it to charge it. You can sit it out in the sun, it'll charge it. It'll actually power the radio by solar. It says in the manual that if you're using it as a radio, you can have it sitting out in the sun, and it will power the radio from the solar panel and slowly charge the battery. If you turn off the radio, it will charge the battery at a faster rate, but it will charge the battery from the solar panel and power the radio completely from the solar panel. I think that's kind of a neat little package. And I think it's, this is something that probably everybody should have something like this, just to have for those times in an emergency, or just to carry it as a portable radio around with you. It's perfect little AM/FM radio with weather band or shortwave, depending on which model you get. And it'll also play your music directly, so you don't have to rely on your phone if you're not serious about the music quality and you're okay with listening to it with a small speaker. Of course, you can also plug headphones in as well, and it's an emergency charger for your phone. I think you can't go wrong with this thing. It looks like a real winner from what I've seen here. In the follow-up video to this, we're going to take it apart and see what's inside it.